Find yourself lying in bed, unable to sleep, with the same unwanted thoughts looping in your mind, or caught off guard during the day by a memory or worry you just can't shake off. Tortured by endless loops of intrusive thoughts and imaginary scenarios. What if this happens? Or what if that happens?
Just begun to hear the sentence you have just finished.
Hey, you are not alone. Intrusive thoughts like this can take a toll on your peace of mind, work, and life in general. But let's imagine one more what if. For a change, good what if. What if there is a simple way to quiet those thoughts and bring more clarity and calm into your life? Sounds amazing, right? Today, our co hosts Ellie and Lilly will explore the fascinating link between sleep and mental health, sharing practical, research backed tips to help you rest better and think clearer. Hi, I'm Nand, and this is Neuroscience of Everything. Before we dive in, share this episode with someone who might need it. And if you love what we do, your 5-star reviews on Apple Podcast or Spotify are those tiny dopamine boosts for our team. So keep them coming. Let's get started.
Ever get stuck with a thought you just can't shake?
Oh, yeah, like that memory that pops up at the worst time.
Exactly. Or a worry that just seems to appear out of nowhere.
And you push it away, but it keeps coming back.
It does. Turns out these intrusive thoughts are incredibly common.
Really?
Yeah, over 94% of people experience them.
Wow, I had no idea.
Today we're diving into some new research that suggests a simple way to quiet that mental noise.
Okay, this I gotta hear.
The research points to sleep.
Interesting.
But before we get into that, let's acknowledge that intrusive thoughts can take many forms.
Right. Some are just fleeting and harmless.
Like a song stuck in your head.
Exactly. But for some people, they can be really persistent and distressing.
That's right. And remember, having these thoughts doesn't mean anything is wrong with you.
Yeah, they're just part of being human.
This new research offers clues about how we might gain more control over them.
Okay, so let's get to the study.
It was done by Dr. Marcus Harrington and Dr. Scott Kearney from the University of York and published in Clinical Psychological Science.
And what were they looking at?
They wanted to understand how sleep deprivation affects our ability to manage unwanted thoughts.
Interesting. How did they do that?
Well, they started by having 60 healthy participants learn to associate faces with either negative or neutral images.
Okay, like creating a mental link between a person's face and a specific emotion.
Exactly.
Fair.
Then they split the participants into two groups.
Okay,
One group got a full night's sleep, the other stayed awake all night.
that sounds rough.
The next morning, both groups were shown the faces again. But this time, they had to try not to think about the associated images.
Ah, like a test of willpower.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you suppress the thought that pops into your mind?
I see.
They found that the sleep-deprived group had almost 50% more intrusive thoughts.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah. So why does sleep have such a powerful effect on our thoughts?
Well, to try and understand that, the researchers used fMRI scans.
Right. fMRI stands for functional magnetic resonance imaging.
And it allows scientists to see brain activity.
Exactly.
What did the scans show?
In the well-rested brains, there was more activity in the prefrontal cortex.
The prefrontal cortex.
Yeah, which is involved in things like planning, decision-making, and inhibitory control.
So it's like the brain's control center.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They also saw less activity in the hippocampus in the well-rested brains.
The hippocampus. Isn't that involved in memory?
It is. It plays a crucial role in forming and retrieving memories.
So maybe that's why we can control unwanted memories better when we sleep.
Maybe.
Yeah,
If the hippocampus is quieter, those memories aren't popping up as readily.
that's a good point. And here's another interesting finding.
Okay, what's that?
The well-rested group actually began to see those negative images more positively over time. They even sweated less.
Really?
It seems sleep helped them regulate their emotional responses too.
So it's not just about feeling rested. It's about being more resilient to negative thoughts and emotions.
I think so.
So what does this mean for everyone listening?
If you struggle with intrusive thoughts, improving your sleep could be a powerful tool.
That makes sense. The connection between sleep and intrusive thoughts is especially crucial for individuals who are, struggling with things like anxiety, PTSD, or depression.
Right. It's like we hear all the time about how sleep is important for physical health, but it seems like it's just as important for our mental and emotional well-being too.
Absolutely. And, this research suggests that prioritizing sleep could be a game changer for people dealing with those conditions.
Yeah, because imagine someone who's already ziggling with a constant stream of distressing thoughts.
Right.
And then you add sleep deprivation on top of that.
It's like adding fuel to the fire. Their brains are already working overtime to manage those emotions, and lack of sleep just throws everything further off balance.
So it's not just about feeling rested, it's about giving our brains the time they need to process and heal.
Exactly. And for far too long, sleep has been treated as an afterthought. Something we squeeze in when we have time.
Right. It's like the first thing to go when we're stressed or busy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this research is a powerful reminder that sleep is not a luxury. It's a necessity, especially for those facing mental health challenges.
It makes you realize that sleep isn't just, something nice to have. It's a fundamental part of mental health, just like therapy or medication.
Precisely. And these studies are pushing us to reconsider that viewpoint. They're showing us that sleep is not just about physical rest, but mental and emotional restoration as well.
So it seems like if someone's having problems with both sleep and intrusive thoughts, it can be a bit of a chicken or egg situation.
Yeah, where do you even begin, right?
Right.
It's a great question and one that researchers are still exploring.
Yeah.
But what we do know is that addressing both simultaneously can be incredibly beneficial.
Okay, so it's not about fixing one and then the other.
Right. It's about recognizing they're intertwined and working on them together.
So it's like creating this positive feedback loop where improving your sleep helps you manage the intrusive thoughts, and then managing those thoughts leads to better sleep.
Exactly. And, a lot of the strategies that we talked about for improving sleep, like having a consistent sleep schedule and creating a calming bedtime routine, can also help in managing those intrusive thoughts.
Right. It's like creating that separation between the busyness of the day and the peacefulness of sleep.
Exactly. And then there are techniques specifically designed to address intrusive thoughts. Mindfulness, meditation, for example, has shown really promising results in reducing the frequency and intensity of those thoughts.
I've heard a lot about mindfulness, but I'm not really sure what it is. Can you explain it a bit more?
Sure. Mindfulness is essentially about cultivating present moment awareness without judgment. It's about observing your thoughts and feelings as they arise without getting swept away by them.
So instead of trying to push those thoughts away, you're just kind of acknowledging them and letting them pass by.
Precisely. It's like watching cars drive by on a busy street. You notice them, but you don't jump into every single one.
I like that analogy.
And another really effective approach is cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT for short,
Okay, I've heard of that.
which focuses on identifying and changing those negative thought patterns and behaviors that might be contributing to the problem.
So how does CBT work specifically with intrusive thoughts?
Well, it can help you challenge the validity of those thoughts, reframe them in a more positive light, and equip you with coping mechanisms to manage them more effectively.
So it's about taking an active role in shaping your thoughts instead of feeling like you're a victim to them.
Exactly. And while these strategies can be incredibly helpful, it's crucial to remember that everyone's journey is unique.
Right.
What works for one person may not work for another. The key is to find what resonates with you and fits into your lifestyle.
So it's about experimenting and finding your personalized toolkit.
Exactly. And if you're struggling to manage these challenges on your own, don't hesitate to seek professional help. A therapist or sleep specialist can offer personalized guidance and support.
Yeah, it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. Sometimes we need a guide to help us navigate these, complex mental and emotional landscapes.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of sleep and intrusive thoughts.
Yeah, we've been talking about how sleep or lack of it can really affect how well we manage those thoughts, the ones that just pop into our mind.
Right. We're starting to understand why sleep seems so important for a clear mind and, just feeling good.
I was thinking, though, maybe we should step back for a second and talk about what sleep actually is.
Yeah, that's a good point. We know it's important, but what's really happening in our brains and bodies when we're sleeping?
We spend so much time doing it.
We do. Is it just about our muscles resting after a long day?
It's a lot more than that. Sleep is really active, you know? It's not just physical. It's super important for our brain too, like for memory and dealing with emotions.
Okay, so let's break it down. I've heard of REM sleep.
Hmm.
Can you explain the stages of sleep?
Sure, there are 4 stages. 3 are non-REM, and then there's REM, which stands for rapid eye movement.
Okay.
Non-REM sleep gets deeper as you go through the stages.
So like different levels of sleep.
Right. Stage 1 is light. You're drowsy. You can easily wake up.
Okay,
Stage 2 is a bit deeper. Your heart rate and breathing slow down.
I see.
Then stage 3 is the deepest non-REM sleep. It's called slow wave sleep.
So is that when our bodies are really doing the repair work?
Yes, repairing tissues, building bone and muscle, and boosting your immune system.
Wow.
Then we go into REM sleep, and that's where things get interesting.
Okay, what happens in REM sleep?
Your brain activity increases, your eyes move around under your eyelids, and we have dreams.
Ah, so that's the dream stage.
Right.
So slow wave sleep is for physical repair. What's the point of all that brain activity in REM?
It's more than just, having fun, although dreams can be pretty wild.
Yeah, they can.
Researchers think REM is really important for processing emotions, remembering things, and making connections between information.
Like our brains are organizing everything from the day.
Exactly. Some think it's also crucial for creativity and problem solving.
Interesting. So we've got these different stages of sleep, each doing something important.
We do.
But how does this connect to intrusive thoughts?
Remember that study we talked about?
The one with the faces and the images?
Yeah, that one. It showed that getting enough sleep, especially REM, seems to help our brains filter out unwanted thoughts.
So our prefrontal cortex, that control center, is working better.
Exactly. And when we're sleep deprived, it can't work as well, making it harder to control those thoughts and our emotions too.
It's like our brain is running out of fuel when we don't sleep enough.
I like that analogy. And when we're rested, it's like our brain is firing on all cylinders.
Right. And that affects everything, not just our thoughts, but our mental and emotional state.
It really does. Sleep is so fundamental to our minds.
It's like a secret weapon for feeling good and being resilient.
Exactly. The more we know about sleep, the better choices we can make for our health.
But knowing we need to sleep and actually sleeping well are two different things.
True. It's easier said than done.
We're back for the last part of our deep dive on sleep and intrusive thoughts.
It's been really interesting learning about the connection between sleep and intrusive thoughts and how it all ties into our mental well-being.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, as we're wrapping up, I'd love to hear more about those practical tools we can use to, harness the power of sleep.
Okay.
Like, what can our listeners actually start doing today to improve their sleep and maybe even, quiet those intrusive thoughts?
Absolutely. Well, we've touched on some key strategies already, but let's dive a little deeper into how we can really make sleep a priority.
Right.
So one of the most important things, and we've talked about it already, is sleep hygiene.
Yeah, sleep hygiene is like the foundation for a good night's sleep, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just about the number of hours, but about creating an environment and a routine that promotes truly restful sleep.
So, what are some of the key things people should focus on?
Well, one of the most fundamental things is establishing a consistent sleep-wake cycle.
So, going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends.
Exactly. It's like setting an internal clock for your body.
It's like creating a rhythm.
Yeah, exactly. A rhythm that makes it easier to fall asleep and wake up feeling refreshed.
And what about those screens that we're all, constantly looking at?
Oh yeah, the blue light emitted from our phones, laptops and tablets can really interfere with our sleep.
Yeah, because it messes with our melatonin production, right?
Exactly. Melatonin is that hormone that helps regulate our sleep-wake cycle.
So is it really as simple as just, putting the phone away an hour before bed?
It can make a big difference.
Okay, so power down the devices.
Yeah, at least an hour before bed, if you can. What about creating a bedtime routine?
That's key too.
Like what kind of things?
Reading, taking a warm bath, listening to calming music. These can all help you relax and prepare for sleep.
So it's about creating a ritual around bedtime.
Right, a predictable pattern that helps your body wind down.
What about those nights when you just can't shut off your brain?
If racing thoughts are keeping you awake, try journaling before bed.
Okay, to kind of get them out of your head.
Exactly. It can free up mental space for sleep.
And what about the bedroom itself? How can we make it better for sleep?
Well, darkness is crucial. Our bodies are naturally programmed to sleep when it's dark, so make sure your bedroom is as dark as possible.
What about blackout curtains?
Those can definitely help to block out any light.
And what about temperature? I like it cool, but is there a reason for that?
It's not just you. Our body temperature naturally drops as we fall asleep.
Oh, so a cool room helps that process.
Exactly. Aim for between 60 and 67 degrees.
Okay, good to know. What else can we do?
Keep it quiet. Minimize noise from traffic or electronics.
Yeah, earplugs or a white noise machine can help too.
Definitely. And of course, you need a comfortable bed.
Right. Good mattress and pillows are essential.
Absolutely. What about diet and exercise?
Do those affect sleep too?
Absolutely.
So no late night coffee or wine.
Right. Avoid caffeine and alcohol before bed. And eat a light dinner a few hours before you sleep.
So digestion doesn't interfere with sleep.
Exactly. And what about exercise?
Exercise is good for sleep, right?
It is. It can help regulate your sleep-wake cycle. But finish your workouts a few hours before bed.
To give your body time to wind down.
Right. What about when you just can't fall asleep?
Those nights where you just lie there awake.
Try a relaxation technique like deep breathing or progressive muscle relaxation.
To calm your mind and body.
Exactly.
But what if you still can't sleep?
If you're still awake after 20 minutes, get out of bed.
Really?
Do something relaxing until you feel tired.
Like reading a book.
Yes, or listening to calming music. It can help signal to your body that it's time to sleep.
I think sometimes trying to force yourself to sleep makes it worse.
Exactly. It's about creating the right atmosphere.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the key takeaways?
I think the biggest one is that sleep is a necessity. It's the foundation for a healthy life. And by understanding sleep and using these strategies, we can really improve it.
It's about investing in our well-being, and it's something we can all start doing today.
Exactly. And be patient with yourself. It might take some time to find what works for you. This has been such a fascinating deep dive.
Yeah.
I've learned so much about how important sleep is for our mental health and all the different things we can do to improve our sleep.
Me too.
And, hopefully manage those intrusive thoughts a bit better.
Absolutely.
I think the biggest takeaway for me is that it's a journey.
Yeah,
There will be good days and bad days, but it's about progress, not perfection.
exactly. And remember, you don't have to navigate this alone. There's help available.
Right. If you're struggling, reach out to a therapist, a sleep specialist, a support group. There are people who can help.
And that's really important to remember.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of sleep and intrusive thoughts. We hope you found it helpful and informative. And remember, prioritize your sleep. Be kind to yourself and sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams.
Hi, I'm Nand, and this is Neuroscience of Everything. Share this episode with someone who might need it. And if you love what we do, your 5-star reviews on Apple Podcast or Spotify are those tiny dopamine boosts for our team. So keep them coming.